I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melisa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles.
Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles. I am solo today. Allie is celebrating her son's 17th birthday. And on top of that, it is the holidays. So we're both pretty busy, but wanted to take some time out to record this episode. And because I know this is it's a hard time right now for people. The holidays, while it's there's so much going on around you. It's a happy time for so many people. Some people, it is not. So I just kind of wanted to take the space on this episode to address that, especially in light of the passing of Stephen Boss, DJ Twitch from The Ellen Show. I mean, one of the last people on the planet that you would think of that would take their own life. And sadly, that's what happened. And very shocking. Very sad, but it also is just a testament to how you just really don't know what's going on in someone's life and the demons that they're fighting. But I'm here to let you guys know that, especially going through this process, it gets better. I know the holidays are tough, but just because your holiday this year isn't maybe what you want it to be, it will get better. I've been there, I've been through it. So has Allie. So have so many of our listeners who write in, and it does get better. I asked on Instagram for people to share their stories, and some of you were kind enough to do so. So I'm going to share some of those on this episode. So our first email, this listener says that 3 years after my divorce and my first Christmas without my kids, their dad is taking them for 5 days to meet up with his family in Florida. She lives up in the northeastern part of the country. When we wrote the divorce agreement, I thought 3 years would give me enough time to be okay with not having my kids with me Christmas morning, but it's going to be painful. Meanwhile, I've been dating my amazing girlfriend since the spring, and she's also leaving for the holiday to see her family for 2 weeks. I'm feeling so sad. I was invited to go with her, but I couldn't make the schedule work. I wanted to be with my siblings, my parents, and grandmother for the holiday and be here as soon as my kids get back home. It's definitely been a learning experience for our communication and realizing that we are now at the point in our relationship that we want to make these plans together rather than try to get them to adjust and ad-lib after the fact. We will have New Year's together with our kids when she gets home. I think this is a great message because it kind of speaks to the fact of how much of this is just trial and error. On top of that, I totally relate to being okay, in a few years I can deal with that by that time I'll be adjusted to not having my kids around as much. But even so, it's still painful. It's still hard for me when I am at home alone and they are not here. Because you have that mindset of there's noise in the background, they're somewhere, And then I can also relate to your girlfriend going out of town during the holidays. That same thing happened to me last year. Marina and I had been dating for just a few months, and she had plans to go to Mexico for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and that was over New Year's. And that was really hard because we didn't get to spend our first New Year's together. And I really did everything I could to try to figure out a way to get down there. I even expedited my passport because it had expired. And I was looking into flights and getting down there, but then I just didn't have the time to take off from work, to take off with the kids. And on top of that, I was going to have to travel alone in Mexico. And my Spanish is not that good. It's been a minute since I took any Spanish classes. So felt like it was just not, the stars didn't align on that one. But, as much as that sucked, we still FaceTimed on New Year's Eve. And you just find a way to make it work. All right, next up, we have a listener who shared her story. She said she's been married for 4 years now to her wife. She's spending Christmas Eve at a dinner with her Roman Catholic Italian family. This is the first year they have finally welcomed us with open arms. For those who are struggling with families, I hear you, feel you, and see you. It's heartbreaking not being able to spend time with people you grew up with at the holidays. I am so lucky to have a loving relationship with my wife. And through the years of my family having a hard time with me being who I am, they have finally seen after 4 years that we are just like any other couple. We have bills to pay, stress, responsibility, and all the adulting stuff. But at the end of the day, we just all want to come home to a safe, loving home. To those of you who are single, keep living your authentic life and be happy. Happiness is contagious. Either your family will come around or in time you will meet your new family. I think that's a great message. I have another message on here from a friend of mine who's kind of had a similar experience where her mom was not accepting when she came out to her a couple years ago. But this Christmas, she says that she is bringing her girlfriend home. Her mom has actually bought her girlfriend a Christmas present, and they're spending the holiday together. And so I think it's important to remember, if you are having a hard time with your family right now, sometimes it just takes them time to come around. And while it's difficult and it hurts, and I'm sure there's some difficult conversations and things that are said, sometimes it just takes them time to kind of see the light and see just how happy you are too, and what that means to you. Also, it's so true that at the end of the day, you just want to spend Christmas with those people that you've spent so much time with in the past. And that's when one of the harder things is I had 14 Christmases with my ex-husband, Christmases where that it was just he and I, or we were celebrating Christmas on a different day because we actually both had to work on Christmas Day. I've spent a lot of Christmases alone because of work, not even because of my sexuality. There's a lot of people that are, the holidays are tough because you're working in an industry where you don't get time off. It's still that way for me today. Luckily, the Christmas fell on a holiday or fell on a weekend. So I am not working, but I'm still working the day after Christmas. And we put so much weight on how you spend that specific day, and it really doesn't matter what day you celebrate it on. Sure, if you don't have your kids, that part sucks, but you can celebrate it on the 26th, 27th, on the 21st, whenever you want. Especially if you have young kids, they don't even know what day it is. Another piece of advice I would like to put out there is that if you are totally alone on the holiday, just treat it as a veg out day, watch some good TV shows, watch some movies, stay off social media. I think that's one of the things that really kind of sparks that sadness in us sometimes. And that's weird. Seeing someone else be happy sparks sadness in you, but it's so true. When you are down and you don't have the thing that you are seeing other people present on social media, and let's also remember that's that's just a little blip into their life. That's, the social media aspect. It's not always that perfect. That's just what they're putting out there. But I think it's a good time to take a social media break and just kind of go within yourself and get some projects done around the house, catch up on some stuff, or just sleep, skip Christmas. When I was working and I had to spend some Christmases alone, my work day would typically be fairly short because we weren't that busy. I'd do a story and go home. And I would just watch movies and order Chinese food and just kind of chill out, act like it wasn't even Christmas. So that sounds anti-religious, but oh well. Skip Christmas. No, I'm just trying to help you guys that I know are having a rough time. There's a lot of good stuff to watch on Netflix right now. I almost feel like there's too much good stuff. There's things that I kind of forget about, but I just watched the movie Emily the Criminal, and I love Aubrey Plaza, and she's in it. I watched a little bit of Harry and Meghan, that documentary, or Meghan and Harry. I don't know which way it goes, but either way, that is supposed to be really good. What else have I watched lately? Oh, Wednesday. Wednesday's really good. It's very well produced. It's cool. The dance scene, that's really cool. They also managed to find someone who looks just like Christina Ricci, and I'm just Shocked. I digress. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to some DMs here. This listener says, Christmas this year looks so different. I'm in a house with my girlfriend, spending our first holiday together. I'm out and I'm happy and I finally feel content with my identity and self, but it's my first Christmas without my babies. They'll be with their dad the first half of vacation week and will spend the second half with us. I'm going to miss them, but my priority is their happiness, and I know it'll be so much more enjoyable for them to have the time with both of us. For anyone settling into a new routine like I am, just hang in there. It does eventually feel like you're doing the right thing. 100%. All right, next up. This is my first holiday after separating from my husband, and things have been rough. I've been privileged to access great therapy throughout my journey, but just in the last few weeks, I started taking medication for depression, and it's the best thing I've done for myself in a long time. Though the holidays will likely be uncomfortable, all together with my ex and the kids because we don't want to be away from them on Christmas, I feel much more prepared to face the holiday season now. Best wishes to all my fellow late bloomers and hoping you can have kindness and compassion for yourselves this holiday season. I love the honesty about taking medication for your depression. Like, I think so many people don't like to share that. It's kind of like, like Allie has said, like one of the tools in the toolkit, it's one of those things that if it's going to help you get through this hard time, use it. It doesn't have to be a permanent fixture in your life, but if it gets you through, if it helps you, do it. I know there's a lot of different medications out there that can help with depression, low dose, that kind of thing. So talk to your doctor, figure it out. I think another good thing to remember too is just because your holiday looks the way that it does this year, it doesn't mean that it's going to look like that forever. This is not how your life is going to look like for eternity. Things will change. You might be living in like a really small apartment right now, like might not have furniture. You might not be able to afford to buy like gifts for everyone that you want to. But just keep in mind, like things will get better. It's just a matter of like taking those steps to get there. And if you've had the conversations, the hard conversations, if you've made moves to come out, like you're doing it, you're taking those steps, and it just takes time. This is, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Nobody just comes out and like everything's settled. No one goes through a divorce and everything's settled. It takes time. So please give yourself that time, that permission to like breathe during this time. And also, again, remember, just because everyone looks bright and shiny on Instagram, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what their life looks like 100% of the time. All right, we've got one more. My girlfriend is coming, long distance relationship across the Atlantic. I have a week with my 3-year-old, spending Christmas with my family and seeing her dad sometimes too. Then a week only with my girlfriend, feeling guilty and sad and happy. Oh my God, yes. All three feelings all at once. I totally get that, like, and the guilt that you feel over missing stuff, like that's so hard. And, my daughter was 5 when we first started to separate and everything, and now she's 10. And it does hurt my heart for like the moments that I've missed out with them. But at the same time, like we create our own memories. Like for instance, Marina and I, my girlfriend and I are taking the kids to New York City for a few days ahead of Christmas. And so we're going to like have our time there. And I think, it's especially important for me right now. I've been working like so much lately. I don't have a ton of time with my kids. But I've taken a few days off work and we're going up to New York. And I'm just really excited to like talk to them, see their reaction to seeing New York City for the first time, and just really create some good memories with them. Another thing to keep in mind, like when they're real little like that, 3 years old, like they're not going to remember. I know it's for you at this time, like you want to experience those things, but like literally, like I asked my kids about stuff that we did like last year, and they're like, "What are you even talking about?" Like they don't remember. And I'm like, cool, I'm glad I spent all that money like doing that cool, significant thing. But, they'll make the memories however they see fit, basically. But just know that you're not alone. So many of us are, I think almost every holiday, almost every Christmas, Allie and I have recorded an episode where we're like, man, this fucking sucks. I am sad. I am having a hard time. And the thing is, it's because this is hard. It's change. Change is hard. on top of that, our families are treating us a little differently, and we're carrying the weight of feeling guilty because we've chosen ourselves. So just try to give yourself a little bit of permission to feel a little sad, to feel a little guilty. Like that's a natural human response, but also it's okay to be doing what you're doing. It's okay to be living your life for yourself, and things will get better. I do want to share that with, like I mentioned earlier about the passing of Twitch, there is a suicide hotline. The number is 988. I just learned recently that you can actually text that number as well. They also have the ability where you can do like a chat on the computer. So that's amazing, because I think sometimes people in those situations, they have a hard time saying the words, like picking up the phone and calling someone and saying that, really hard. Texting someone, so much easier. Kind of like coming out. So much easier to come out via text. But if you're in that hard space and really at that point, please use that resource. Please reach out to someone. Please talk to someone. And know that it will get better. We've got countless people that listen to the podcast that message us all the time saying that it gets so much better, and this is hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And that heart has stretched on for years, but there's so many good moments that come with it. So much fun, so freeing. And as for me, with my Christmas this year, I am going to be spending it with my kids in my new house. My girlfriend and my ex-husband's going to come over Christmas morning, and we're going to do the whole thing together. So I'm really excited about that. I'm glad that we all get to share that together. My kids are so excited. They have bought Christmas gifts for literally all the extended family members down to my ex-husband's girlfriend's ex-husband. So, you might lose some family members along the way, but like one of our listeners mentioned before, you find new family. And another thing I'll point out, I know this was the case on Thanksgiving. I'm not totally sure about Christmas, but a lot of gay bars will be open on these holidays because they know that some people don't have a place to go home. So, find those resources. Use, I know I just said to stay off social media, but the Facebook group Coming Out Late, check that out. You can post on there anonymously too if you just need to kind of vent and share your sadness. You guys can also email us if you need to get something off your chest. We really try to write back to everyone, but sometimes it's difficult. But I think that sometimes it's just therapeutic just to send the email out into the ether and like have the venting session out there to let someone know how hard it is. We are thinking about you guys. Again, I know Allie wanted to join me today, but it's chaotic. And we will hopefully have another episode out before the end of the year. And if we don't worry. We will be back in 2023. We love you guys. We appreciate everyone that listens on a regular basis and continues to listen, and everyone that reaches out to us and expresses how much they appreciate what we do. Every one of those emails just lifts us up and really keeps us moving forward with doing this podcast, because it's definitely a labor of love. This ain't easy. Right now I need to be packing for our trip. We leave, it's 5:30 in the evening on Saturday, and we leave, our flight leaves at 6:15 tomorrow morning, and I still have to pack. So apologies for the short episode, but we'll be back. Love you guys. Oh, I only say that if I mean it. Look at me. Oh. All right, we'll be back next week. Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melisa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.